Hey friends, and good morning. Thank you for clicking on this video and joining in on what is a tutorial on making a ladle. Just a little bit of background with this. I've been to many mountain man rendezvous, and I've observed in some fire starting competitions, you build a fire, you pull out your ladle, and you melt a little bit of lead, and you cast a bullet, then you shoot the bullet. Over the years, there's been discussions as to what is the best type of ladle to carry. And it's just a common thought, correct or not, but the common thought is copper ladles transfer the heat quicker and better. And you can kind of understand that when you think about the transmission of electricity. They don't do that through steel wires or a metal wire. They actually transfer it through copper wire. So it's been long recognized that copper does transmit heat and or electricity very efficiently. So over the years, having watched this and listened to the debates, I decided to make myself copper ladle. Now I actually had one that was metal that I was using for casting bullets here in my shop, and I just used that as the pattern to make this. And I've made a couple since then, but my method of doing it was not the best, and it required more cleanup work than what the whole process was actually worth. So having the pattern of this from times past, I went ahead and made myself a wooden pattern so that I can be more symmetrically correct or size-wise with the product that I'm making. And this is the extension that once you pull the ladle out of your accoutrements bag, you can see that part of it is rounded right here. And this is designed to put a stick in it. So when you go to a rendezvous, you don't have to carry the handle. You just grab a stick on the ground, shove it through the circle right here, and cast your bullet. Okay? So I use that as a pattern. Now for me, when I first started making my first few, I used the square on my hardy hole, and it left the bottom side very rough. Fortunately for me, I had a friend that worked at the college here in Albuquerque, and he would go dumpster diving after certain classes were done and be able to take out of the garbage can the stuff that was thrown away by the students. And there was a lot of copper this big. Yeah, this was all throwaway, guys. What a waste, right? Some of the copper pieces, let me see if I can find them right here, were actually this thick. Not as big, but these make good copper boppers for doing flint knapping. See? So for a guy like me, throwaway stuff becomes useful. And some of this throwaway stuff now is I'm actually making it into copper ladles. Okay? Now, like I said, and as I mentioned, my first few were pretty rough and required a lot of cleanup work because I was using the square hardy in my anvil. And when you have a square line and you're trying to do, a dimple, it leaves ugly marks on the bottom side. And I know in time, some blacksmith is probably going to watch it and say, why did you just get a swage block? Because I'm too cheap to buy a swage block. I'd rather just make them. Okay? My friend Jonathan, he had to have a piece of his trailer hitch cut off, and he gave me the chunk of metal thinking that I could do something with it, and I did. I made a swage for making these ladles, just like I made a swage for making my copper spoons. I got this for free. And a few dollars worth of grinding blades, I ground it out. and it works perfect. Just like this is proving to work perfect. I've got one here that I've got to finish up. I just have to heat this up, bend it down, and then I've got a couple of the extensions already cut out, ready to go. I just have to do the final fitting, and I just thought I'd invite you guys along for this demonstration. If you've never really worked with copper before, one thing that you do want to bear in mind and keep in mind, you want to work copper hot. Because if you go to bending it too many times when it's cold, it's going to start cracking. If you try to take something like this on, I would suggest starting with your pieces a little bit wider than what you want. Because if it does start cracking, it's going to start cracking at the edges first. And you can usually grind that away. So I'll get the camera repositioned, and I've got a little propane torch that I'm going to heat this up, and I'm going to bend this back down and finish this one up. And as you can see, I got it where I want it. Okay, and if you look at the bottom of it, I have a whole lot less cleanup to do because I'm not trying to make, let's see, how does it go? I'm not trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It's vice versa. I'm trying to fit a round object in a square hole, so I got a whole lot less cleanup to do. So let me get one cut out. I've got one started right here. I'll get that cut out, and then we'll start the process right from the beginning. So as you can see, I have a rough cutout. Now I'm going to take it over to my 1-inch belt sander, and I'm going to true everything up before I go to forging it. So now that I have something close to what I want, just bear in mind there'll be a final, cleanup to all of this also. Now if you're going to try to make one of these, bear in mind when you start forging this, you want to imagine, are you going to be using your right hand or your left hand? So you'll want to determine which way you want to start hammering. That's going to make a ladle that's conducive to your being right-handed or left-handed. Okay, so you need to think that through. So I'm going to get this over there, heat it up, and we'll start pounding it. So I can just imagine by now somebody has already typed into the comment section, why didn't you put this in your hardy hole? Because I don't have any more 1-inch square stock to do that with. Otherwise I would have done that. Hopefully you can see it didn't take very much effort to get that to cup to the swage. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it about like this, and then I'm going to use the swage to start bringing the sides up so that it becomes deeper. Now, as you can see, the handle portion is starting to come up, so I need to bend that back down. Make sure you use heat, because you don't want to, bending this copper cold, because it will crack. So you want to make sure that that's got plenty of heat in it when you go back to straighten it up. So now I'm going to cool off my vice grips. They're getting a little warm, but now you can see where the pour spout's going to be. What I've done is on the bottom side, this piece of metal, I kind of cut something out so that I can form that pour spout. Okay, now over to the 1-inch belt sander to do some more profiling and some cleanup work. So before my battery goes completely dead, I'm involved with another project right now, but that is as far as I have gotten with it. I don't know how much more cleanup I actually want to do, just simply because by the time you start using it and you mix your flux in and everything else, they end up being black. And if this bottom of this side looks, shiny like copper, that's just because I cleaned it up for the purpose of doing this video. But I guarantee you, she may not be the prettiest ladle in camp, but she's definitely functional. So I'm going to get some other things done, and then I'll come back in and I'll show you what I do to fit the handle and everything else. Okay, continuing on, I've come to the portion of this project to where I have to create the stop for the ladle itself. And as you might be able to see, I drew a line right here because I want to be able to leave myself some room to drill the hole for the pivot. But at the same time, I want to be able to have enough room to get the stop bent over and around so it does become the stop. Let me show you on this one right here. You can see where this piece is bent around and it becomes a stop. But because I don't have as much length right here to work with, I have to kind of like lay it out and then see where and how I need to bend this. So the way I'm going to attack this is obviously I'm going to get it cherry red right into here, but I'm going to bend it outward first, then around. Okay, so let me get that done and we'll look at the end result. Step one, having cooled the piece of metal down, I want to put it back onto the copper ladle to see how this is going to look. I'm visualizing in my mind what that's going to look like and which way I need to actually bend it. And obviously I need to bend it down. So I'm going to go ahead, reheat this, get started with the bend, and when I get close to what I think I'm going to want to need, I'm going to use a piece of that same scrap copper and close it in on it, okay? So let me get that accomplished. And I'm just going to use the top of my anvil to start closing that in. Okay, as you can see, I've got a pretty good circle. Now I'm going to take that flat piece of copper, I'm going to heat this up again, and I'm going to lay that flat piece of copper on top of it like this, and then I'm going to close it in. And as you can see, it's working. And that just about got it. Okay, you can kind of see I'm just about there. I've got a little bit more, you know, fitting and lining everything up. As you can see, the bottom of the copper right here is not lined up, which is okay. I can correct that in a little bit. What I'm going to do now is work on the circle that's going to actually hold the stick. Same thing, I'm going to heat up this portion and I'm going to work it around something round until I can get it closed up like it is right here. Close enough. Okay, so what I can do now is I can actually put this on my anvil like this and hit the copper and match the angle, and then I can go ahead and drill for the pivot. So I was on a roll and I just kept going until I got the whole thing finished. Okay, so let me just explain the steps that I went through. First of all, to get the handle section and the ladle section to pair up good, I went ahead and notched a little dimple in it, and when you get there you can see that it pairs up pretty good. Alright, then I went ahead and drilled the holes, figured out where I wanted the holes to be, and I went ahead and drilled them. And what I use for a pivot pin is just a 16 penny nail, because it's already got a flat head on it. So you want to put that to the, to the top, and then when you get your length, then go ahead and, hammer it, mushroom it over so that it creates that tight friction bond. And it is a little tight right now, of course, but with use and it being copper, it's going to eventually loosen up just a little bit. But in the meantime, you can get it to where she locks into place, and you can see it pairs up pretty good. And you can get yourself a stick, run a stick in through there, and you can cast some round ball in camp. Or carry it in a bag just for the pure aesthetics of it all. But anyhow, this is a pretty simple procedure. So I want to thank everybody for watching. I've got, I think, 5 more to make, and when I get all 5 of them finished, I'll be putting a few of them up in my Etsy store. And probably what I'll do is when I get them all done, I'll probably just do a quick video letting everybody know that they're available in my Etsy store, Lane Beaver Trading Company, same as this YouTube channel over on Etsy. And I typically get about $35 for these. And there again, they're not 100% perfect because they're all hand forged. Typically what you might expect, like in the 1700s, something that's hand forged. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time polishing these and cleaning them up, just simply because once you start casting lead and start using a flux, you can see that they're going to look rough anyhow. So anyhow, I want to thank everybody for watching, and if you liked what I demonstrated here, I hope you'd give it a thumbs up and share it with your bestest of buds, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye.